Hey everybody, so here's a little update for the vapor lock heat soak issue that I'm having. So this is what I've done so far. Let me turn my welder off. So per what people said online, I added wire loom, this type of wire loom right here, to the metal lines coming from the fuel pump and also going to the carburetor. And I also added, I'm not sure if this stuff will be okay under the hood or not, but I do have a huge roll of this aluminum bubble insulating stuff. This stuff is used for like inside drywall. You can use it for piping and all kinds of stuff against radiant heat and stuff. So it should be okay, I think. I guess I'll find out. But I wrapped the wire loom and this on the carburetor. I don't think the carburetor needs a shield. I've seen some people put like a heat shield right here to protect the bowl from boiling, but it looks like AMC from factory has like a little oval shield and it's directly below this, and then you have the intake manifold. So I think AMC already thought of something like that with their little adapter on the Ford carburetor. I decided to reroute the fuel lines. So this shiny line down here is the new fuel line that I had put in, but I never replaced the return line because it didn't feel clogged to me, but it's probably rusted inside and probably has a lot less flow than it should. So I decided to replace the return line as well because I had literally the same length of line after I did the fuel line to do the return line. So now that fuel line down here is now going to be the return line. It's a 3/8 line though, so in order to get this smaller line on the larger 3/8 line, I need to have an adapter. Where did I put it? I did have an adapter somewhere. Of course, I should probably lay this stuff out before I do a video, but I do have an adapter to go from that to 3/8, so I can go into the old fuel line and use that as a return line. Now, the new fuel line I have routed up here along the wheel well. So this fuel line I already flared, and I wrapped it in this insulation, wire loom insulation that a lot of people were saying to do. So I ran it down the wheel well down here. And I'll go down there in a second. I also added this heat shield right here. So this is just 22 gauge steel. I bent it and curved it so it's not like sharp, so I can actually have access to all of the spark plugs down there. And I just tack welded it to the exhaust manifolds, former air injection tubes, these little things that stick out on the side of the manifold. I just tack welded it to that. It's not going anywhere. It's secure, it doesn't wobble. And I'm decided not to paint it because it's already galvanized, so that should be good enough. Wanted to keep the reflective surface as well. So so the only thing that's close to the manifold now is just the return line. The fuel line is way over here. It's much further away. I also routed the fuel line on the outside of the frame. So it comes down that wheel well and it goes over here. I actually need to like zip tie these or well, temporarily zip tie them so they don't just like constantly, you know, bang and wiggle around. I put the wire loom on the actual fuel line itself, not for heat insulation, but to protect it from chafing. So if it does decide to rub, it's just rubbing on the plastic and not the actual fuel line itself. This is actually the existing bracketry that AMC had to secure the fuel lines and the brake lines together, but it was on the other side of this frame. So I just took the bracket and moved it over here because the hole goes all the way through the frame, and I just bolted it in to the frame to secure it. Just some extra wire loom I had. Decided to put it right here so it doesn't rub on any of that. And the line runs through here, through another one of those factory brackets. The return line is the top one. The actual fuel line is the one that goes over here. I haven't flared it yet. So now these lines are completely away from the exhaust pipe that's right here. So prior owner, probably, I mean, judging by the rust on this thing, probably 10, 15 years ago at least, they decided to do a dual exhaust. So instead of the pipe going down the manifold and going underneath the oil pan and connecting into the pipe over here on a Y pipe and going out the passenger side, the dual exhaust that this person did runs all the way over here right next to all of the brake lines. The fuel lines used to run right here along the brake line. You can see the old bracket that's still there. The fuel lines ran all over here. These are all brake lines. This is the old return line I need to remove. But you can see how close it is. The exhaust pipe to the fuel lines are like maybe 4 inches. That's it. He ran the exhaust pipe all the way over here. And it comes out like right behind the door, which I hate because you can smell the exhaust. And there's only about ½ an inch, maybe an inch of room between the pipe and the fuel tank itself. So, so this hot exhaust pipe is literally right next to the fuel tank. So it's probably warming the fuel tank up as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece of 22 gauge sheet metal right here. And I'm just going to cut it at like a triangle shape or something like that so it just fits between these two. And I'm going to weld it to the frame and this cross member right here just to kind of put a barrier between the pipe and the gas tank itself. So now this is the fuel line, the actual supply line. So this needs to be going over the fuel rail now. So now, before it used to hang like right here, right next to the exhaust pipe. Now it's moved all the way over here, completely away. The return line, where is the return line? Which one is the return line, brake line? I can't remember. One of these is the return lines. One of these are going to go away. And this is going to be bent up more. So now the fuel line will go right into here. I need to flare it, you know, but you guys get the idea. So it's going to go into right there. So now it's completely, like, fully away from the exhaust pipe. The only exhaust that's going to be there is, I guess, nothing really. So it's completely away from the exhaust pipe now. So that's the way I'm going to route it. To be honest, I don't really like running it on the outside of the frame like this, because if you get T-boned or something like that, someone's going to hit the fuel line and it's probably going to cause a fuel leak. But I imagine they probably ran it inside of the frame rail to protect the fuel line. And also, when it's outside like this, debris from the tire could kick up against the frame and hit, you know, throw a rock or something against the fuel line. And it possibly could nick it. It's an aluminum line, so it's not steel. So that's another reason why I kind of wrapped it in the wire loom, to kind of protect it just a little bit more. So, but I think it'll be okay. And now that it's completely away from the exhaust, there's an exhaust shield right here. These are all wrapped. The fuel line is way over here now. I think I should have no more vapor lock, no more heat soak when the Jeep is parked and everything heats up and boils, and I think this should fix the issue. The only concern I have again is this silvery insulation. I don't know what the temperature is of that, the maximum temperature, because the engine can get like, you know, 280 degrees on the top of the engine, but I think it should be okay. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you.